Hey, what's going on everyone? Here's my review of the Master Grade RX-78-2 Gundam version 2.0. Everyone that collects Gunpla should have at least one RX-78-2 in their collection, so the big question here is if this should be the one you buy. I'll be reviewing this Master Grade Gundam in 4 categories: the build, the appearance, the articulation, and the gimmicks. I'll give each a score from 1 to 5, and at the end I'll tally everything up for an average score. Hopefully this review will help you decide if this kit is right for you. Part 1. The build. Like most 2.0 kits, the build for this guy was amazing. The instructions lay everything out perfectly, and I found it was just the right level of difficulty for a Master Grade. There were no stickers outside of the camera lenses, there's no need for paint, and there is 0 bad nubs. One of my favorite parts of this build was the inner frame. Literally every part of this guy has some sort of frame inside of it. There are pistons and moving parts everywhere in this kit. On top of that, there's actually a lot of part separation in the frame itself, so it would be extremely easy to paint this in a nice combination of gunmetal, silver, and gold. I could see myself buying this kit again just to display the inner frame. Now on to the touch-ups. Well, aside from painting the pistons on the inner frame silver, I could see painting the Vulcans and the head a nice yellow, but honestly I kinda like them white. Whether or not the original Gundam has yellow Vulcans is kind of up to personal preference. Other than that, you could add some cement or glue to some of the armor pieces. Some of the skirt armor and these white looking pieces on the joints tend to pop off, so if you like posing your kit often, it's something to think about. This is one of those kits I could see myself building again. I'd say this would be a perfect entry point for someone looking to get into Master Grade Gundams. I'll give the build for this kit a perfect score of 5 out of 5. Part 2. The appearance. This kit decided to take a step back from previous kits and focus on accuracy to the anime. I love it, especially since the release of the 3.0, which provides the other end of the spectrum with its more real grade design. This is definitely a sleeker take on the original Gundam, maybe a little too sleek. The proportions are quite a bit slimmed up. This can lead to the hands looking a bit too big and the feet a little too small, but since it's the anime interpretation, it's not really that big of a deal for me. The colors are fantastic as well. The red and blue seem a little faded or kind of pastel or something. It really looks like something from the 1970s. The yellow is especially good, since it's got quite a bit of orange mixed into it. There are near 0 panel lines on this kit, just a few tick marks here or there. The panel lines you do get are kind of shallow, so honestly I'd skip over them. This kit comes with quite a few decals, and as usual they're mainly caution signs. There are lots of dry transfer model numbers though, which can add a lot of character to an otherwise clean design. As usual, I skip the caution signs and only put on 3 or 4 of the model numbers. I love anime accuracy in my kits, so the design of this kit was exactly what I was looking for. If you're into a more realistic version of this suit, then you've got the 3.0. But for me, this is exactly how an RX-78-2 should look. I do think it might be a hair too slimmed up though. I'll give the appearance of this kit a near perfect score of 4.5 out of 5. Part 3. The articulation. Starting at the feet, there are actually 2 separate hinges, so he'll always be able to find good footing. The ankle is the usual double ball joint, so it moves anywhere you want it to. The knee gets close to a 180-degree bend. This white piece on the front really makes the bend look good too. The hips are the modern Master Grade style, so you can pretty much do anything you want with them. The waist skirts can be kinda finicky, but they move just as you would expect. You get a surprising amount of movement out of the chest. Nothing crazy, but more than you would expect from something with a core fighter inside. Its main feature is that it can lean backwards a little bit. The shoulder joints are amazing, popping out at almost a 90-degree angle. You don't get nearly as much movement upwards though. Thankfully, you can pop the arm out and spin it around to still achieve that final shot pose. You get the usual 360 spin on the upper arm and almost a 180 out of the arms. The hands are on ball joints and the fingers are sort of a prototype emotion manipulator. The tips on the fingers are on individual hinges, while the part connecting to the knuckle has the standard trigger finger split. They aren't quite as good as the ball joint based hands of the 3.0, but they're a bit more sturdy. There's also a peg for holding weapons. The head is on a double ball joint, but because of how thick the neck is, you're kinda limited with what you can do. That about does it for the basic articulation. It's definitely a step up from older Master Grades. He can pretty much do any pose you could ask for, and he's sturdy enough to be able to change it often. Aside from the skirt armor, it just feels incredibly solid. I'll give the articulation of this kit a 5 out of 5. Part 4. The gimmicks. This kit comes with pretty much everything you could ever want from an RX-78-2. First, let's run through the weapons. The main weapon is the beam rifle. It looks great and it doesn't pose any weight issues, especially since there are pegs in the hands. You also get this optional super napalm attachment, if you want that. Next are the beam sabers. They look a bit too bulky, but overall they work just as you would expect. You also get the beam javelin. Unfortunately, the beam part comes in all clear, so you're going to have to paint that a nice pink if you want to use it. Next you get a bazooka. You can have a little trouble holding it, but thankfully you can store it on the back of the waist. Lastly, for the basic arsenal, you get the Gundam hammer. It looks great, and it comes with a pre-made chain. I think you're going to need a stand if you really want to use it for an action pose though, otherwise it's just going to sit on the floor. Now onto the shield. It looks fantastic. There's no needless panel lines crowding up the design. You can put a sticker on the front to give it some character. It also has two hard points on the back for storing the beam rifle and the bazooka. The backpack, the waist, and the arms also have hard points. Now for the major gimmick of the kit itself. You get a fully functional removable core fighter for this kit. It looks great and it has a cool transformation into a core block. Unfortunately, it's the only one you get. If you want to display the core fighter, then you're going to have a Gundam without a chest. I really wish Bandai would have included a dedicated core block or something. Well, that about wraps it up for the gimmicks. It's about what you would expect. I like how you get the entire arsenal, even the more obscure super napalm and beam javelin. The lack of a dedicated core fighter is a major letdown though. I'll give the gimmicks for this kit a 4 out of 5. Lastly, the verdict. Time to wrap everything up for an average score. The build was a 5 out of 5. It's one of those builds I could see myself doing again. It's got an amazing inner frame and would be a perfect entry-level kit for the Master Grade line of Gundams. The appearance was a 4.5 out of 5. I love the more anime-inspired design. It might be a little too slimmed up though. If you want the more real grade interpretation, then you've got the 3.0. The articulation was another 5 out of 5. As expected of a 2.0 kit, it has great mobility. Thankfully, it's sturdy enough to withstand posing it over and over again too. The gimmicks receive a 4 out of 5. It comes with everything you would expect from an RX-78-2, plus a little extra. But it lacks a dedicated core fighter, which is a major letdown. Adding all that up and dividing, you get an average score of 4.625 out of 5. But I'd round that to a 4.6. In terms of a percentage, it receives a 92.5%. That's a really high score in my reviews, and this kit deserves it. In my mind, this is the definitive RX-78-2 in Master Grade form. I'm sure a lot of people prefer the 3.0 and that kind of more modern interpretation, but for someone that really values the anime, this kit is perfect. On top of that, it's posable and sturdy. This is one of those kits I'd recommend to anyone that's looking to start a Gunpla collection. Alright, that's my review of the Master Grade RX-78-2 version 2.0. Feel free to leave a comment on what kit you want to see reviewed next, or ask any questions about this kit, and I'm more than happy to get back to you. Thanks for watching everyone.